Welcome back to the Pitwitter's Smoke Shack, and a very happy Independence Day to our cousins in the US across the pond. Now you might be asking, why am I, a Brit, celebrating Independence Day? And the truth is, I've always loved American culture, from stories of the Wild West through to country music, and obviously through to barbecue, particularly Texan barbecue, Alabama barbecue, and Floridian barbecue. I'm a huge fan of most things American culture, and I can't help but think that if America hadn't declared its independence on July the 4th, we wouldn't have had this wonderful culture that we now can celebrate and enjoy. So that's why I, as a Brit and a fan of all things Americana, am celebrating Independence Day, July the 4th today. And in celebration of this occasion, we're going to be making a barbecue sauce with a difference. We're going to take inspiration from the classic white Alabama barbecue sauce, and we are going to be making an exploding barbecue sauce, because what's more July the 4th than barbecue? Fireworks. So exploding barbecue sauce is on the menu today, and we might just pair that with some air fried chicken tenders too. So stay tuned. And we're going to start with 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. That's about this full jar, it's about 340 grams, I think, something like that. And you could make your own mayonnaise for this. I'm using store-bought because it has a longer shelf life, basically. There's more additives and preservatives in there, which you may or may not be a fan of. For me, I want this to last a little bit longer, so we can keep it a few weeks into the summer. Next up, we want 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, couple of teaspoons of Dijon mustard, a couple of teaspoons of mushroom ketchup, and if you can't get this, Worcestershire sauce will be just fine. A couple of teaspoons of prepared horseradish. Again, you can either make your own or go for store-bought. Half a teaspoon of onion granules, a teaspoon of ground white pepper, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and you can add more or less of this to your taste. In fact, you can add more or less of most of these ingredients to your taste. A teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of kosher salt. And then just give it a mix. Once that's all mixed together, you should have this kind of aged, white looking, fairly viscous sauce. And the final step is to add the juice of 1 lime. You're looking for about a tablespoon of juice, so if you don't want to use lime, you can use lemon. Obviously, you wouldn't use a whole lemon's worth of juice, so you might be looking at about half or 3/4. I'm using my gloved hand here to catch any potential pulp. You don't want that going into your Alabama sauce. You could use a juicer. Just make sure you keep any solids from the lime out of the sauce. My lime looks to be particularly juicy. I would say that probably is about a tablespoon's worth, and we haven't quite used the whole lime. I'm going to stop there and just stir that lime juice in. And you see that's going to help loosen up this white barbecue sauce a little bit. Okay, and we're pretty much done. Let's just give this a taste. Cheers. Wow. Okay, you could argue the exploding element is in the flavour. That's fantastic. There's so much going on there. It's sour, really slaps you around the face with that sharp kind of tartness coming from the horseradish and from the mustard and all the other things we put in there. The heat is still building. It's a real slow burn, but it's coming and it's very pleasant. It does need some sweetness to balance it out. And also, of course, as advertised, we need to add the exploding element. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a nice aged white sauce here. But wouldn't it be great if we could add the red and the blue, reminiscent of the Stars and Stripes, in celebration of this Independence Day? Well, this will be our exploding element, our sweet element, and hopefully the red and the blue elements to our Alabama sauce. Now, when you're serving this, you don't want to add these too early. As late as possible, ideally, because the candy is going to start to pop. The elements that will make the candy pop are mainly the water. And mayonnaise, theoretically, doesn't have a lot of water in it. It's an emulsification of egg yolks, which is fat, and oil, which is also fat. So it should be quite hydrophobic. Having run some tests, however, there is obviously some kind of residual water element because the candy does start to pop pretty much as soon as you put it in, but the popping does last quite a long time. And then when you taste it after, say, half an hour or so, there's still plenty more unpopped candy to enjoy on your palate. So I would recommend that just before serving this, when all your other food's ready and you just want to serve up the dipping sauce at the final plating, that's when you quickly chuck in your red popping candy. You can hear that popping already. That's one sachet of red. And that smells incredibly sweet. That's actually quite saccharine. And then in with your blue popping candy. Now, I've not even touched that yet, and you can probably already hear if I move my microphone towards it. That's already popping away in some kind of bizarre ASMR fashion. So we're just going to very gently attempt to incorporate these. Let's quickly give it another taste now we've balanced it with that sweetness and see if we can get some of that popping candy. Cheers! Yeah, that's worked perfectly. The sweetness completely balances out that sauce now. Actually seems to intensify the heat a little bit somehow. Not sure how that's working. But yeah, that sweetness was key and that's just enough. And critically, you do get some of those fizz pop explosions happening on your palate, which is just a bit of fun. You know, if you're sitting around listening to a campfire, watching the sun go down while there's smoke coming from the barbecue, just being able to feel those little explosions on your tongue just immerses you more in that moment. So while our sauce continues to pop away there, we better make something to dip into it. And I'm thinking air fried chicken tenders on the Ninja. Okay, so let's get these chicken tenders underway. And the first thing you want to do with them is marinate them for a minimum of 4 hours, maximum of 24 hours. We're short on time, so we're going to marinate them for 4 hours. If you go for longer than 24 hours, you run the risk of the meat becoming a bit mushy, not quite having the texture that you're looking for. So 4 to 24 is the way to go. This marinade could not be simpler. It's your basic buttermilk marinade with a few extra goodies thrown in. So, starting with a pint of buttermilk. And to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder. half a teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a half teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You add a whole teaspoon if you want it hotter. You have 2 teaspoons. You can have as much as you like or as little as you like. You can omit it all together. Go with whatever your heat preference is. And then you just want to give that a stir. And that's your marinade done. Pop that to one side, get your chicken ready. So next up, let's prep the chicken. I've got some chicken breast meat here from our friend and local producer, Frustrated Farmer. You can't beat the quality of his produce. So you have 3 chicken breasts there. Thanks, Frustrated Farmer. So what I find with a chicken breast like this is that more often than not it comes with its own tenderloin here, and that's a good guide the size you're going to be going for. And what you might also want to do, just trim it up a little bit. I mean, Frustrated Farmer is an excellent butcher. There's not really much work needed here at all, but as we're doing a very specific application for these chicken breasts, taking off anything that might create a bit of a chew, bit of, you know, might not be as tender as what we want, we'll just get rid of it. So you're looking for those white pieces, fats there. They can be quite chewy. We'll just take that off. But there's that tender I was talking about. So we're going to aim to get everything about the same size as that. And that's a piece of that sort of white fatty meat I was talking about there. Again, that's in different applications, that's perfectly fine to eat. I mean, it's perfectly fine to eat in this, it's just not going to give you the optimal experience that we're looking for. So again, taking off this silver skin type stuff will also help ensure that your tenders are indeed tender. That one's more of a nugget than a tenderloin. It's okay, all cooks the same way. Right, so now with a little bit of help from Mrs. Wizard, I'm just going to pop these into the marinade, and that goes in the fridge, as I said, for 4 hours and up to 24 hours. So I'm just going to put these into the marinade and just get them all amongst it. Chat your spoon. And there you go. They get covered now in saran wrap or cling film and in the fridge for 4 hours. Okay, so our panning station's here. We've got our marinated chicken. We've got our seasoned flour. We've got 2 beaten eggs. Got some panko breadcrumbs. Now you can add to your breadcrumbs whatever flavouring you want. As I mentioned earlier, we've got some of this fantastic rub and seasoning from the Rusty Barbecue Company, and I think that's going to be all that needs. So in a couple of tablespoons of this fantastic seasoning. Do check these guys out. If you need rub seasonings, anything like that, these guys are fantastic. So that's a rough overview of the Panne station. If you want the full recipes, check out our brand new Substack. It is free at the moment to peruse our recipes. You can subscribe for free as well. It won't be forever, but for now, you can go and check out all of our recipes. It won't cost you a bean. So I highly recommend you do so. So, with this chicken, one tender, shake off the excess. And first, you want to go in the flour. That will give the egg something to cling on to. And into your egg. And then in the excess, get the excess egg off. And in to your breadcrumbs. Really get it generously covered all over there. And then just repeat that for the number of tenders that you've got. Okay, so that's our chicken panne, breaded and ready to go in the air fryer. 200 degrees is what we want it at because that's Celsius. It's about 390 Fahrenheit. Timer, we want 5 minutes. And we'll give them a flip. And then it's another 7 or 8 minutes. And then we hit start. Preheat is automated, and you don't have to preheat. You could pop the food in right now, apparently. But Ninja does strongly recommend, not just recommend, strongly recommend that you do preheat. So we're going to do that. But, you know, it's no skin off our nose. It only takes a few minutes anyway, so I think that's probably the best thing to do, is to give it a fair test and try and get the best result we can. Right, so that sound means we're preheated, ready to add our food, but first of all we need to give chicken a spritz. Right, a light spritz. Okay, let's pop them in. And the countdown begins. So what we're now going to do is give them a flip, put them in for another 7 or 8 minutes. That's all that done. Quick respray. Okay, these are looking pretty good. See, it's chicken, so we're looking for an internal temperature of around 165. Anything that or above will be fine. 144, okay. And you'll see some of these have gone up to as much as 180, even 190, I think one of them read. That's fine because the buttermilk marinade will still ensure absolute tenderness. Hopefully we've done our friends across the pond proud. These are air fried chicken tenders done in the Ninja Woodfire there, and they look fantastic. And don't forget, we've also got our all-American Alabama exploding barbecue sauce. And as I mentioned, you do want to add your popping candy right at the very end, just before you serve, so there's still some pop in there when your guests bite into it. So without further ado, let's dive in. Thanks, Ninja. Cheers. is absolutely fantastic. The pop of that popping candy in the barbecue sauce against the crunch of that chicken just creates a really fantastic sensation on your palate. It's kind of unlike anything I've ever had before, really. It's the crunch and the pop really marry together, so it literally is like fireworks going on in your mouth. That's beautiful. You've got the obviously lovely tender buttermilk chicken to go with it as well, and some lovely herbs and spices from the Rusty Barbecue Company. So that's going to about do it for this cook. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Billy Buick. This is the Pitwoods Smoke Shack, and to our cousins across the pond, a very, very happy 4th of July. We hope you celebrate in style. We hope maybe you try something like this. And don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and you can now get access to our recipes on SUBSTACK for free for a limited time. Thanks again for watching. Please consider giving this video a like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss another one of our videos. And we look forward to seeing you next time. That's going to about do it for this cook. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Billy Buick. This is the Pitwoods Smoke Shack. And thank you... Oh. Yeah. And to our cousins across the pond, a very, very happy 4th of July. We hope you celebrate in style. We hope maybe you try...